Welcome everyone. My name is Eric Leung. I'm co-founder and COO of Simplifai. Today in the webinar, I'll be talking about how we can enhance the performance of an RPA project using our technology, the email bot. So with me, I have Pooja, who will be running a demo for us to illustrate how that process will work from end to end. So if I might just start with an introduction of why are we here? It is because our customers, the end customers, are always in the demand of more speed, availability, and quality. Anywhere where there is an innovation breakthrough that allows the user, the end customers, to be able to receive their service at a faster pace, use something that used to take a week, all of a sudden takes a couple of days, and then it becomes a couple of hours, and then it becomes a couple of minutes. That is going to be driving their hunger, their thirst for something better across for all services that they have received. So that is one aspect of it. And then you will also, on the other hand, you will have the availability aspect where the end customer would want to receive their service around the clock. Something that usually was business hours would then become 24 hours, and then it becomes 24/7. And then it becomes something just as ubiquitous as it would be like Netflix or Uber, etc. And having the speed and availability is not enough because it is also very important that the quality of the service do not be compromised due to that. So you have these three main elements that are constantly in higher demand by the end customer that kind of forces companies, industries to think of better ways, maybe using technologies in order to bridge the demand. Now, it is also the fact that we're all here on across on the internet having webinars and everything becomes virtual and teams become more popular overnight. It's also because there are some unpredictable events around the world that happens that all of a sudden overnight changes the way we work. And because of that, it makes it even more important that our businesses are able to adapt to such changes at any given point of time. Because we know we are not able to predict when these things will come, but what we can do is to make sure that when it does come, we will be prepared. So Simplifai, we are a company that uses the AI technology to create automation. And our specialized area of expertise is on text, which usually exists in chat and email and documents, and the processing within those elements. So AI becomes this magic term that is basically a technology that can solve everything. But yeah, it is true to some extent. However, in Simplifai, we are focusing on having a niche focus on something that we know where we will have a competitive advantage, and that it is not something that we need a bunch of data scientists in order to make something work, because most of the AI project up until this point has been these magicians called data scientists that are using days, months, or maybe even years to crunch the data and try to tune the model in order to make something work for one single company. That is making it too expensive and too late to the market in order to make it any business value out of it. So Simplifai, from the very starting point, we have been focusing on how can we package artificial intelligence as a company and make it available to all the businesses, large and small, so that they can take the technology and use it to their advantage. So they can configure it, they can train by using their own data, and it will work within their own work process. Projects with us, they don't take months, they don't take years, they take weeks, they take days. And because of that approach, we have teamed up with some really strong partners, local and international, to allow us to take this approach and this technology to attack the market in different places in the world. I myself is sitting currently in Dubai, opening up the Middle East market together with our local partner, Vault Technologies. And this approach has also allowed us to acquire customers on many different industries, where it becomes the same case where the only thing that is in unison between them is that we will be able to create business value for all of these customers, even though they are not necessarily from the same industries, but they have the same common denominator. And that common denominator is inquiry from customers. Now, I would like to know if there's any industry that doesn't have customers, because as long as they do, we can come in and generate value for them. And this is our pledge. This is how we deliver value to our customers. Of all the incoming inquiries that will be coming from the end customers, they are usually very repetitive. Now, the statistic has shown that if we ask any given customer service center and ask them to give us the top 5 category of inquiries, those top 5 categories would have formulated anywhere between 50 to 80% of the total inquiry volume, and it's just based on 5 type of inquiries. So if we're focusing on the repetitive inquiries and we would find a way to train a bot to understand that, we believe that we are able to automate up to 90% of the repetitive work in customer-facing organization like front office, customer service, anything related to that. And as I mentioned, the bot is very standardized and that it can be used and tuned to work for any businesses and adapt to any of the process. We believe that within a month, we would already have a solution that will make it very useful and be productive at any given process. And because of that small project and the high value, we believe that the business gain out of this would allow you to, for all the investment that you would have spent in terms of time and money on acquiring the system and to use to train, the payback will be coming within 6 months. And it means in reality that you don't even need to work out the budget to acquire this, because you can already within your annual accounting manage to save back on the cost within the fiscal year. So the way we do it, our concept that we have wrapped together is called digital employee. We're not calling it a digital assistant or virtual assistant or anything. This is between us and the virtual assistants or any of the digital assistants that we will be seeing in the market is that our digital employee are trained and built in a way, configured in a way that it can automate the whole process from end to end. From the moment an inquiry comes into the customer center and it will be received by our bot, it's able to receive, read, and then you go ahead and make the necessary process and answers the customer, making it a completely self-reliant unit. And of course, it can also collaborate with the colleagues. So in total, this is the digital employee that differentiates from the digital assistants. So there are many different reasons why people would want automation. I believe there's many of you who are in the call today who are already have started to work with RPA. That's why the topic become interesting. And within there, the automation, the message about how exactly, why should we do it? There, you will probably recognize some of them here. We're talking about anything from availability, the speed, there'll be no wait time available 24/7, 365, or having the ability to scale up your organization without scaling up your staff, because recruitment is one time-consuming process, and it's actually very costly as well. And of course, consider industries such as customer service with a high churn rate, it adds up, it compounds the problem even further. Now, there are also other types of benefits that maybe is not too obvious to think about, like for example, employees who are currently working on the boring task of replying the same question 50 times a day, maybe they get to save the time, and instead of answering questions that the bot can do, maybe they can go and initiate conversations of doing sales, starting to do tasks that are a little bit more requiring their expertise, moving up the ladder and work on more creative work. Or simply for the business owner's perspective, maybe they can, using the bot, to gather data about what kind of inquiries is coming in from the customer. How many rounds do we normally have to do in order to get how many rounds of email do we need to do in order to get the case resolved, etc., etc. These are information that can also come back and help the businesses to refine their service in order to be able to create, to offer better services over time. So under the hood of a digital employee, we have different standardized modules. This is not a consultancy project with a lot of data scientists coming in and crunching. This is standard tool that are to be used by a customer service representative who can tune the bot, train the email bot to answer the incoming text inquiries, or to train the document bot to understand the attachments, and then having the rules engine that they can use to configure the bot to perform according to your business rules, and then the integrations to perform the actions through the RPA processes that some of them you have already built. So if we look at how it would have been like in a customer service settings, or in some of our examples where we have a lot of cases within the bank and finance, in the financial industries, then there is also claims for insurance is a very typical process. You will have incoming inquiries coming through emails, chat, customer portals. Some of them inquiries have attached documents which you might have to open and read. And instead of flowing them to the customer service representatives and they have to open each and every single one of them, read them, open the back office system, punch in the information that is on document or the email, you would have a digital employee sitting in the middle, being your first line or your zero line support, who will receive these inquiries first and proceed to understand what they are, and then would open up the back office system or calls the RPA process to work on this back office system. Only when the time when the digital employee do not understand what the inquiry is about, maybe it is spam, maybe it is a phishing mail, I don't know, then it would proceed to forward to a customer service representative, and then they can then handle it. We're talking about an 80–90% of the work can be done by the digital employee. So from the customer service representative perspective, they will still do their phone calls, but they would also at the same time notice that the amount of emails or inquiries coming to them become less and less. So on one end, they can spend the time on doing more value add process, but also at the very least, they can spend more time on the cases which the digital employee do not understand, that are usually of the complex manner or a little bit sensitive manner, that they can allow them to spend more time to achieve better quality. So overall, it's a win-win-win situation between the customer service representative, the management, executives of the companies, and the end customers. So if we do a very simple process case to kind of illustrate what exactly do we see that the email bot comes in handy. Now, it's not like the bot is configured based on rules. So it is, since it is a machine learning module language engine that is trained to be able to receive any languages, and on top of that with the domain knowledge. So the bot can be trained to understand the incoming emails, chat, portals, and attachment documents. It would go ahead, within the insurance, you would have claims, requests for quotes, policy renewals, but then of course in other industries like online retail, you might have, where is my package is damaged, or you can have governmental, I applied for this, what is the status of it, for example. So you have all kinds of incoming inquiries where the bot can understand what is it about, which subject, what kind of information do I expect to find within that email, and you go ahead and retrieve the email. So for an insurance claim, you might be able to find out, oh, you crashed your car, you're finding a claim for motor insurance. Okay, you have the car make, model, license plate, reference number for your policy, etc., etc. All of these information can be fetched and structured, and then it can be passed on to the RPA bot, which then will be responsible for registering the claims in the claim system, in the back office insurance system, whether it's TIA or NICE in Norway or some other systems in other parts of the world. It doesn't matter. The RPA process can then handle it. The fact that without the email bot, the RPA bot would not be able to read the email and sensibly retrieve the information from it. But with the email bot who are able to do it, retrieve the standardized, the structured information, and then hand it over to RPA bot, then RPA bot can all of a sudden become a lot more useful, can automate the process in a much higher level. And thereafter, the trivial task of replying to the clients based on the email templates of the business, it becomes trivial task for the RPA bot. So a little bit about how do we train the email bot. Now, the bot is filled with the ability to recognize language, the grammar, synonyms, text, but it doesn't know about your business. It's the same way if I were to start working for you in your company tomorrow, I would also need some basic training. It's to train to understand what comes in through the email. So for someone who has been reading and answering these emails on a daily basis, they would be able to use this tool to transfer the knowledge to the bot by marking the different informations about these. I read the whole email. This is about insurance claim. Oh, I read this whole email. This is about I want to sign up for a phone plan or internet plan. And I read about this whole thing. It's about complaint. It's an unsatisfaction or whatnot. And then from there on, you will then be able to mark the information. This is the name of the customer. This is the address. This is the phone number. And this is what the subject is about. This is something we need to pay attention to. So once the customer service representative has marked all those information, they will press the button on the top right, send to training. And then the bot will start receiving these kind of input from the end user. And they will start derive the knowledge of, okay, so these are the email, this is about this is about A, B, C. Okay, this is how I will sort them. Very good. Do that for 200 emails and you will have a bot that is already able to handle above 60% of the time, understand what it is about and fetch the information. You improve the training to 2,000 email plus, then the bot will get above 80% and touching 90. If you get up to 5,000, then it's basically 90% plus of ability to understand 90% of the incoming emails and the underlying information. It takes about 30 seconds to train each email for the beginners. So doing the math, the project to train a bot will not take more than 2 weeks, maybe 3, combining with all the settings and configurations for the integrations. That's basically what you will have. And then after that, it's about time to combine this with the RPA in order to really bring in the value. So we call it RPA as the robotic process automation, but the way we call it is once you combine that with email bot, we have a robust process automation. RPA tool is very powerful. It can do a lot to automate a lot of the back office processes where the task and the steps are very standard. However, once we're starting to move closer to the front office, inquiries that comes in might be in all forms, shapes, and color. And that would make it very important how RPA can also be applied there in order to improve its use case and in the business case. So imagine that you have an email bot from Simplifai who interprets the incoming inquiry and then produces a set of standardized information package to submit to the RPA, where the RPA can proceed to do the automation. Then RPA becomes much more useful than just for the backend processes. And Simplifai Email Bot, it's actually an API that can be consumed by any RPA process. So it makes it very easy to embed into any RPA process. And since Email Bot from Simplifai is a SaaS product, software as a service, hosted on the cloud, it does not require any more than a sign up and granted with the authentication, and then the user access is available. And as I have mentioned, it's very simple to train. It's very easy to start. And any sort of an incoming inquiries, whether it's email that is in the Outlook, email that is in their ticketing system, or email that goes into your help desk, it can be fetched, it can be analyzed, it can be trained. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one bot for your whole organization. Say in terms of the large corporation or governmental, you might have different departments that are responsible for certain topics. And then you can have a one bot for each of them that are each serving each of the departments. And then you would then take these bots and connect it with the RPA process where this is sensible. Having that in mind, you would then have the perfect combination of email bot plus RPA that allows any organization to scale their staffing, basically enhances what RPA was originally set up to do. We just basically make it more powerful. A little bit of a very, very simple architecture drawing. Basically, the way we see it is that you have the RPA bot fetching the email, forward that email to the bot to analyze, comes back with the package data, and then based on the information, you can derive business rules and build the process, whether you want to forward, archive, or registration. For those of you who are working with UiPath, I have a very, very, very simple diagram that illustrates that it does not take any more than one HTTP request in order to complete. Of course, it should be HTTPS for those of you who read really detail, but it is. It's encrypted. It's a secure connection to our secure environment in Azure. And then once you have fetched the data, then the rest will be processed accordingly. So some of the reference case that we have done, claims link, at first we were combining it with an RPA to build a bot basically who receives the incoming inquiries and would have marked the emails with different colors for the processing of different team members, as well as proceed to process and register the claims where they are supposed to be registered. In addition, they would also archive the incoming and outgoing communications so that it can be traced back whenever a claim case ended up in the courthouse. So at this moment, ClaimsLink have had the digital employee role working for them for almost a year and a half now. And it has been doing the same amount of registration work as the rest of the employees combined, in addition to a lot more tasks than what it is set out to do. So in 1 month, we have built them this fabulous digital employee, which then of course through the different phases in the future, we add more functionalities to it. But the original functionality would have been built in 1 month should we be doing that today. So if you guys have any questions, please hold it or type it to the chat. Meanwhile, I would forward to my colleague, Pooja, to do the demo of how she has built a very simple digital employee that goes from reading of the email and using the RPA and then to register it in the back office system. So Pooja, it's all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Let me share my screen. Let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, Pooja, we can see the screen.
Is my screen visible to all?
We can see the screen, Pooja.
Okay, so let me start with the demo here. Today, I'm going to give demonstration on connectivity between our email bot and RPA bot. Today, we will see how efficiently email bot reads the email, does free text analysis and process the data, and using this data, RPA bot register cases in CRM application. Okay, so let me walk you through the process flow of today's demo. In this demo, customer will send an email to target email account. Here, RPA bot will keep monitoring the target email account. In case of any new email, RPA bot sends that email to email bot. Now, email bot reads that email, does free text analysis of entities and the values, and send JSON response back to RPA bot. Now, using this data, RPA bot process the case in CRM application. On successful registration of case in CRM application, RPA bot sends confirmation email to customer. Okay, so let me start with draft a sample email here. Okay, so here I have drafted a sample email. Please make a note that this data is only for the demo purpose. In this email, you will find all necessary basic details. As an example, full name, phone number, social security number, address, as well as customer's health insurance. Okay, so now I'm going to send this email to target email account. Okay, so email has been received at the target email account. Now, as I said earlier, RPA bot will keep monitoring target email account here. Okay, so RPA bot has fetched this email, and now RPA bot will proceed to log in into CRM application. Let's have a look. Okay, so bot has successfully logged into the application. Now you can see Simplify Studio email bot response. So these are the data which was present in the email. RPA bot, email bot has extracted all necessary entities and the values. As an example, social security number, address, insurance product, mobile number, and customer's name.
Pooja.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Now RPA bot will register case in CRM application. Okay, so on successful registration of case in CRM application, within few seconds, RPA bot will send a confirmation email to customer. Let's say. Okay, so here customer has received this confirmation email with support ticket ID for future reference. In case customer has any queries or concern, customer can refer to this ticket ID and send it to that insurance company. And with this confirmation email, we have a screenshot attached here. Let me just open it for you. Okay, so in the screenshot, you will find all necessary details which was entered by RPA bot to register the case in CRM application. Okay, so that's it from my side. Now you get more idea how we can automate our business processes using the combination of email bot and RPA bot.
Thank you, Pooja. Very good demo. Thank you very much. And I just have one very little request. If you can pull up email that we have created before we send out.
Okay, so actually,
this one, yes.
Yeah.
In the JSON response, you'll find all the fields that we have trained the email bot to recognize, such as the product's full name, etc. But then there's one thing we didn't explain is the document. We have attached this document as you can serve this as a certification of the person, or you can say this is the actual application form that you have to submit in a PDF form, etc. But the documents will also be taken into the email bot and then transferred or communicate to the RPA bot so that we can use it further on. That's just one point. Thank you.
Yes, correct. Over to you, Eric.
Yes. Now it's time for questions or comments. If you have any questions in your mind, don't be shy. Just write it on the chat, and then I will see them, and then I would be taking them one by one. Meanwhile, I have seen there was a question about the price model. Now, for us, we have two price elements. Number one is for the license, it is the monthly license cost plus the usage per email. Now, depending on the different volume, we have different price tier, which you can then feel free to speak to one of our sales representatives, and they would be able to guide you based on your case to come up with the correct price plan. Now, when it comes to the per email charge, we only process the charge for the emails that the bot has managed to process. So if it was spam or if it was an email that the bot doesn't understand, it won't count towards the ticker. And this is also to give us the incentive of working hard to make sure that our bot is actually as useful as it is to be able to come up with the correct understanding of the email. Of course, that is also the element of the setup, but it's a much smaller element compared to the license and of course the ticker. Yes, the question of if we support the G Suite Gmail. Yes, our studio, we can configure to receive emails that are coming from both Exchange server or from Gmail. But if we were talking about using an RPA bot to fetch the email, then I believe that, say, UiPath or Automation Anywhere or Kofax, they already have standard elements that you can use to retrieve the inquiries from different elements, whether it is Outlook, whether it's G Suite, whether it is Zendesk, Freshdesk. It should be very flexible in that sense. So Yeah, and then we have example if the general incoming emails that comes into some common mailbox, and that's actually where a simplified email bot can come in very handy. Yes, the way it's incoming can be very, very diverse in terms of the way it's been written. You will have different people with different habits writing in different manner. However, this is exactly where the AI comes in to be able to understand what the incoming inquiry is about. Now, say you have a large corporate where one thing is customer service at abc.com, for example. Then you would be able to build an email bot to first identify what the topic is about. Then you can have a more expert bot behind it to be able to process the parts where it is about the specific areas. You know, you can, if I might draw an example, we have a large financial institution that includes investment banking, regular banking, insurance, collector services, pension, etc., etc. And then you have one big mailbox. Sure, no problem. You build a bot at first to be able to recognize, is this about investment banking? Is it about regular banking, insurance, or whatnot? And then you go ahead and route them to different bots behind it to be expert in banking, expert in insurance, expert in pension, etc. And then you would be able to have a two-tier way of processing a large amount and a large variety of emails. But in a business setting, we realize that the amount of different types of email that comes in are still very finite compared to personal level. I mean, I have emails that can be anything from don't forget dinner tonight to here's your concert ticket. But inside a business, inside an industry, then the amount of variation would be much, much limited. So for the bot, this is still very handleable.